Hi everyone, hope you're doing good, and today I'm going to be doing a CD update and I'll be showing stuff that I got for my birthday recently. My birthday was about a month ago, it's just over a month ago now, yeah, I picked up quite a lot of albums, about 11 in total I've got to show, and also I've got a couple of t-shirts that I got as well. So yeah, I wanted to take my time with the albums, listening to them, as I always like to do, so then I've got something worth talking about. So yeah, I hope you go on to enjoy the video, and before we get into it, if you're new and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing for more rock, metal and guitar based content. Please like if you go on to like the video, share with anyone who you think might like my content. All feedback and comments massively appreciated, and a massive thanks to everyone who's already subscribed, all your support, for getting me over 300 subscribers and pushing on to 4 now, so let's go and do it. And now let's get into the video. So yeah, first off I'm just going to show a couple of t-shirts that I got. So I got a couple of really cool ones. So yeah, this first one is a pretty cool Cannibal Corpse t-shirt. It's pretty nice. I didn't know I was actually getting these until the day. And I also got this one that fell on the floor. I have worn that in a previous video, so yeah, I really like that one. It looks really cool. And the other one I've got it on currently. It's a Metallica t-shirt. Looks pretty cool. So yeah, that was a pretty big surprise, and I'm really happy with all 3 of them. And next up, I'm going to show 2 albums that I got from Simon Pieface that I didn't know. Well, he said that he was going to send one of them over, but I didn't know he was going to send 2. And quite coincidentally, they come like the day before my birthday. So I thought, instead of like doing VCLT thing, I thought I'd just, you know, throw them in with this video. So yeah, the first one that he sent me, I didn't have a clue who the band were, and that is this. So the band is called The Modern Day Slavery, and the album is called Damned to Blindness. And this album came out in 2008. It's their debut album, and this band are an Italian deathcore / death metal band, and they are very much on the deathy side of deathcore, which is what I like. And yeah, I really enjoyed the vocals on this album. They kind of reminded me a little bit of Ascendancy Matt Heafy in moments, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, overall it's sort of, I wouldn't say bog standard deathcore, because you know a lot of it does sound the same, but really enjoyable album. I really liked it. A lot of pretty cool riffs and stuff throughout, and then they do a cover of Wolverine Blues at the end there, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed that, and they've got a new album coming out this year, so I might check that out as well, just to see what their new stuff is like. And the other one, I knew this one was coming, The Gathering by Testament, and yeah, he said that he wanted me to have this because it had like a tiny little millisecond skip on one of the tracks, but to be honest, if he hadn't have told me that, I wouldn't have known, because I didn't even hear it. It sounded pretty perfect to me, to be honest. And yeah, this is their 8th album. This features Dave Lombardo on the drums, James Murphy on the guitar, and it's a pretty enjoyable album. It's not their best by a long shot. It's not their best, but it's a pretty decent album. You know, it's got some nice groovy, thrashy moments in there. You know, the vocals from Chuck Billy are fantastic. He pretty much sounds exactly the same as he does now. You know, just awesome vocals, really cool riffs, not so much on the guitar solo side on this album, but for the majority of the album it doesn't need it because there's some pretty awesome riffs throughout. So yeah, cheers Simon for sending me those, I really appreciate that. Okay, so the rest of the albums are albums that I picked up, and also my mum brought me some of these as well, so thanks mum. So yeah, let's get straight into it. This is my first album from 2023, and it's the new Obituary. No introduction needed. The new Obituary, Dying of Everything, is absolutely fantastic. First time I played it, and I absolutely loved it. I instantly just was like, I need to buy this album, but it was always a bit too expensive for me. It was like £15 when it first came out, and I thought, as good as it is, I'm not paying that. So I just waited for the price to come down a bit, and then as it's my birthday, I thought, sod it, I'm getting it. But yeah, I think this is the best album they've done in quite a while. I think it's better than the previous one, the self-titled one. Might be better than the one before that, Inked in Blood, although I do quite enjoy that album and would like to get that one next. I think it's better than the Incomplete, but I'm not sure if it's better than the first two albums. But overall, it's just classic Obituary doing what they do best. From the first song to the last song, it's just all absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Barely Alive, Without a Conscience, I love that song, it's really groovy. The title track is brilliant. Weaponize the Hate, War as well, really cool. Even the last song, it's classed as like a doomies track, but I actually really enjoyed that song. I thought it was really cool, really heavy. Yeah, it's classic Obituary really. The next album is my first album by this band. It's a band that I've wanted to get into for quite a while, but never really checked them out until this album, when the songs from this album dropped. So I've really enjoyed it, and now I've finally got it. And it's Annihilator, and this is Metal 2, the re-recording of the original Metal album that came out in 2007, I think. And it's basically re-recorded vocals by Stu Block and re-recorded drums by Dave Lombardo, and I think everything else is the same, it's just been remixed and remastered. And yeah, if anyone wants a definition of what metal is, it's that's pretty much what Jeff Waters has done here. He's taken the blueprint of metal and fused it all into this album, and yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. The song that I heard of it was Downright Dominate, and that song featured Alexi Laiho, and it's a great song. Stu's vocals on that song sound just like Phil Anselmo from Pantera, and that was sort of what got me into the whole album. And yeah, out of all the albums, I think I've listened to this one the most because it's just fantastic. From the first song, Chasing the High, Army of One. I think if there's one downer on here, it'd be Couple Suicide. I'm not a massive fan of that song, but the cover of Heavy Metal Maniac is really cool. Haunted as well, Detonation, Clown Parade, and the last song, Kicked, is brilliant as well. Just a fantastic album that I'm glad I picked up now. And the next one is also from 2022, but it's sort of like an EP / live album hybrid, and it is by Smith Kotzen, Better Days and Nights. So basically they put out an EP in 2021 called Better Days, and I think it was only digitally available, and then they played some live shows, and they basically just made this kind of comp album and added some extra live tracks. And yeah, this is fantastic. There's a picture of the band there. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's not essential, but I think the 4 songs on here, Better Days, Got a Hold of Me, Hate and Love and Rise Again, all brilliant songs, and they could easily have made the album, you know, the self-titled album. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I pretty much enjoyed everything that they've done. You know, every song that they've written is fantastic. So the next album that I'm going to show, I was going to pick up with my last CD update at the end of last year, but in the end I decided to wait until now to pick it up, and that is Kotzen by Soulfly, the album that came out last year, their 11th album in total, no, their 12th album in total, and this was an interesting listen because I'd never actually listened to the band before the song Superstition come out, and I really enjoyed it. And I mean, considering that Mark Rizzo left the band, as I was listening to this album for the first time back in like September, whenever it come out, I was thinking like, well, no Mark Rizzo, no problem, because the guy that they get to play leads on here, Arthur Riddick, does a fantastic job. He sort of plays almost very similar to Andreas Kisser. I'm not sure if that's what Max wanted with this album, but there's definitely some old school Sepultura vibes in this album. Probably more old school Sepultura than a lot of the Soulfly albums. It's got a really awesome mix of like that Soulfly groove, but also with the old school Sepultura thrash in there. And yeah, it's a really short and sweet album, and I really enjoyed it, and it kind of made me want to get the other album, Ritual, that I got back in last year. The one downer for me with this album is Spirit Animal. It's far too long. I know a lot of people said that about that song, that it just goes on way too long. It's just not necessary. But apart from that, the rest of the album is fantastic and definitely worth checking out if you have never listened to Soulfly or are not that bothered about Soulfly. That album is definitely worth your time. The next one is a live album that I saw really cheap, and I didn't exactly need it, but I thought, you know what, at that kind of price, it's definitely worth it. And that's Lamb of God live in Richmond. This was recorded in 2020 and come out in 2021. And basically what this is a lot of bands during the lockdown, they had these sessions, like Death Angel did it, and I got that one last year as well, where they basically just did a set in a sort of a live venue and recorded it, and that's exactly what Lamb of God had done here. And what they did, because they had a new album out at the time, they basically played the entirety of their self-titled album, and then they played a couple of extras, and then there's also some bonus tracks that didn't quite make their self-titled album in 2020. And yeah, it's really awesome. They've done a really great job. You know, it's pretty close to the recordings. You know, the way it's been recorded, you can still tell it's live, but you can also tell that it's been maybe just a little bit polished up. But I haven't watched the DVD yet, but I've only listened to the live album, and it's fantastic. And even the bonus tracks at the end are really cool as well. I remember I did a review on this when it come out, like the limited edition version of this album, and you get the live album with it. But then you can get this set as well, and I think I remember making the conclusion that you might as well just get this. And instead of getting the deluxe edition, and that's what I did. The only downer with it is that the bloody DVD keeps coming out of the stupid thing. That's really annoying, but apart from that, it's really cool, and I'm glad I got it now. Next one is another EP. I've gone EP mad. I don't know what's happened. I don't usually buy live albums and EPs, and now I'm buying loads. But basically I've been wanting to get this one for a while. It's Metallica's Beyond Magnetic from 2012. And again, I saw it really cheap. It was like $4.99 on Amazon. And, you know, I thought I might as well pick it up. It's a lot cheaper than the new Metallica, and to be honest, I could have brought 3 of these and it would have been cheaper than the new Metallica, and it probably would have lasted less time than the new Metallica, and it probably would have been better than the new Metallica as well, because to be honest, I think those 4 songs are really good. You know, I'm not sure why they left these off Death Magnetic, maybe because it was long enough already, but all 4 of them songs could easily have made that album. The production's really good on here as well. It's just some really great, almost like progressive ideas for some of the tracks. Yeah, definitely worth picking up, or definitely worth listening to. If you want to listen to some pretty good Metallica, buy this and don't buy the new Metallica. Okay, 3 to go now. The next one is I've basically I set a mission for myself this year to pick up a bit more AC/DC. So there's one off the list. Let There Be Rock from 1977. This is their 3rd or 4th album, depending on how you see it. I really enjoyed this album. I really wanted to pick this up, mainly because of Let There Be Rock, Whole Lot of Rosie as well, and Overdose as well, because I know them songs pretty well, mainly because of people covering them, but also they're just really great songs. So I wanted to pick this one up more than like Power Age or Back in Black, which I do want to get, but I just wanted to get this one more this time. And I really enjoyed the whole thing. I think this might be my favourite AC/DC. It might, you know, it's going to take a lot, I think, for an AC/DC album to beat this one for me currently. Yeah, I really like Dog Eat Dog, Problem Child. I know that's off Dirty Deeds as well. Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be. I thought that was a really good song as well. And yeah, definitely going to be picking up a little bit more AC/DC this year, throughout the year. So, you know, in future updates, you'll probably be seeing AC/DC a little bit more. Next one, complete contrast to AC/DC, picked up Slayer, and this is Divine Intervention from 1994, their 6th album, and this is one that I wanted to get and check out for quite a while now. I remember Mark G with a Seed did a video a couple of months ago and he was playing this in the background, and yeah, that sort of half made me want to get it, and plus it was fairly cheap again. It was about $6.99 on Amazon, so I thought, yeah, that's cool, I'm getting it. And yeah, it's a really great album. I think it gets a little bit overlooked, possibly because of the, you know, the year it came out. You know, if this come out in maybe 92, it might have been a bit more popular, but I think because it came out in 94, it's kind of suffers because of that. Pretty cool picture of Tom right there. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I think this album is really cool. It starts off with Killing Fields, and it has that riff that's a little bit Alice in Chainsy, but still really groovy. You know, I think it's a pretty cool groovy album throughout. You've got Paul Bostaph playing on the drums as well. Ditto Head I really liked. Divine Intervention, it's sort of, that song sounded like a continuation from Seasons in the Abyss. I really like that one. SS3, Serenity and Murder, The last song, Mind Control, is a bit crazy as well. So yeah, I think this album's a bit overlooked. And also, I'll be talking about this album a little bit more in depth because we're going to be doing Story of Slayer stream in a couple of weeks' time. So definitely keep a lookout for that. And the last one that I picked up, which to be honest, I'm a little bit annoyed that I picked this up because recently they announced that they were doing re-recorded versions of this album and EP. It's Morbid Visions and Bestial Devastation by Sepultura. It's like their debut work, pretty much, all in one here. So you've got their debut album and EP all put on one CD. How young they look there. That's really awesome. And yeah, I'd never listened to this album, and I saw it on Amazon. It was $4.99, so I thought that's an absolute bargain. I'm getting it. And yeah, I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Got the original Bestial Devastation artwork there. So yeah, this was originally, so Bestial Devastation come out in 1985, and then Morbid Visions 86. And it's a little bit before its time. It's very aggressive, very raw, very fast, thrash. Definitely has like some blackened style vocals that Max does on this. Very different to his vocal style on later albums. And yeah, the riffing as well is very. There's not a lot of like Sepultura like riffs. They're very rooted into their influences on this, which is not a bad thing because it's a really cool album. But it's definitely cool to hear the band and definitely Max in their early writing stage. Yeah, I thought it was quite funny listening to some of the guitar solos were absolutely hilarious on this album. I'm not gonna lie, I thought some of the solos were hilarious. And yeah, as I said, that it's gonna get re-recorded and re-released under the Cavalera name in July, I think. So that's gonna be pretty cool to see what they're like. And yeah, as for Sepultura, I've got 4 albums left that I've yet to pick up, even though one of them's Roots, so I'm not really that bothered about that one. But yeah, getting there with the Sepultura now. So that was this video going through my birthday haul for 2023. I'd love to know what you think of any of the albums that I picked up, what your opinions, what you think of them. And yeah, if you got this far, thanks ever so much for watching, really appreciate it. And until the next time, keep it metal.